This week we get a bit of time to catch up. The planets aren't moving around much this week, but we are starting the week off with some new energy because Mercury is in retrograde. So we'll talk about what that means for you. And Venus just moved into Virgo, a sign that she's not extremely happy to be in, but she understands why she's there. So let's talk about it. Hey Astro Babes, this is Ashley of More Than Your Sun Astrology, and welcome to As Above, So Below for the week of August 5th through August 11th. In this video, I'll bring light to what the planets are doing up above and how it influences you in your life. At the end, I'll pull one card for additional guidance and clarity. Before we jump in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you can always be prepared with what to expect. So we kick off the week with two new bits of energy. First, Mercury's retrograde. So let's stop and talk about that for a second. Mercury speaks to topics like transportation, cars, boats, planes, whatever you use to transport yourself from point A to point B. Scheduling is also a Mercury topic, like what times you need to do certain things or be certain places. And one of the biggest Mercury topics that always comes up with the word Mercury is communication. These are what I would say are the big three, but we should also mention technology, so the big four. Cell phones, computers, that kind of stuff. Planets in retrograde aren't traveling their typical course, so the energy that we're picking up on is different and not typical. If Mercury has to do with communication, when Mercury is retrograde, we're more likely to have miscommunications with people. Because Mercury has to do with schedules, during Mercury retrograde, we're more likely to have some kind of breakdown in scheduling. Like we plan to get somewhere at a certain time, but you can't find your keys and now you're gonna be late. Or you leave on time and then you run into traffic and there's never ever traffic on this street at this time, but today there is, and now you're gonna be late. So I think you get where I'm going. Just be mindful of trying to do whatever you can to plan ahead. Like getting all your stuff together the night before, making sure that your phone is charged and that you have enough gas in your car, all that kind of stuff. I actually made a video for you about the top 3 ways you can prepare for Mercury retrograde and how to work with retrograde energy. I highly suggest you watch the video to help you navigate this period. Mercury will be retrograde through August 28th, so through the end of August. I'll link the video in the description down below. Now, as far as the actual energy goes, when Mercury is retrograde, we can feel like we want to move forward, but for some reason, we can't. There's something that's keeping us stuck. And we have this feeling of being stuck. Something's going on with me, for example. My daughter was recently toying around with the idea of leaving her performing arts studio. She absolutely loves her studio, but they focus more on singing, acting, and dancing, and she wants to turn her focus more towards just acting. So I found this place that offers acting classes. We decided that we'd go check it out, see how she liked it, and then she'd make her final decision after on what she wanted to do. So we went on Monday. She loved it. She had a great time. It was what she was looking for. So she decided on Monday that she was ready to leave her old studio and join this new place. Well, Monday was the first day of Mercury retrograde. And I know, I'm an astrologer. I should know better than to have her start something new during Mercury retrograde, but sometimes it's unavoidable. She had to make a commitment before a certain date, otherwise she would miss out on like team tryouts. So there were restrictions on why we couldn't wait. So we went, she made her decision, and then the next day, she got a call from her old coach letting her know that they had some new options available to her in the form of just acting, which is what she's ultimately looking for. This is Mercury retrograde at its finest. My daughter made a decision to leave something in the past. She thought that she'd gained clarity. She was ready to move forward. But Mercury was like, no, you really thought it was gonna be that easy? This is a time for everyone where you can see reversals. Commitments that you've made may not be as solid and long-standing as you think they are. There's a real potential for instability. You'll also see topics of the past come back up again. Like you think you've got something all figured out, or you think you've left something behind you and you're done with it for good. And the next minute, something happens and you're back to square one again, or it's back in your face again. Now you're confused. What I love about this story though, and I don't love that this is happening to my daughter. I feel for her that she has to make this decision, but you can't deny the astrology in action. But what I want to relay here to you guys is that the energy doesn't miss anyone. My daughter's 10 years old and she's being struck by retrograde energy. So you can not only see things show up in your life, but you can also see them show up with the people around you. Even your kids. Your kids are people too, and they experience the same energy that you do, except they're kids. So while I can be like, girl, you're only 10. It's okay. It's not a big deal. To her, this is the biggest decision of her lifetime. So if something does come up for you, don't take it personally. This is the astrological weather, and the weather is the same for everyone. Also, try to be understanding to others. I always say give yourself some grace and give others grace too, because you never know what other people are dealing with. All right, moving on to the second new bit of energy this week. Venus has moved out of Leo and is now in the sign of Virgo. This is a pretty big shift because we're going from fire to earth. Venus in Leo was pretty playful, fun-loving, maybe a little bit conceited, but there's nothing wrong with loving yourself. Venus in Virgo is a lot more serious. Remember, Venus speaks to the things that we need to feel loved and nurtured, things that bring us joy and pleasure. Now, the reason Venus doesn't super care to be in Virgo is because Virgo can be a little bit judgy. You know, I really want to keep the peace, but I just can't imagine why you didn't replace the toilet paper after you used it all, you know, whatever. So it's like, I don't really want to say anything, but if I don't, I'm just going to sit here and be super irritated because I just literally can't imagine why you wouldn't just replace the toilet paper if you use it all. This can be Venus in Virgo. It's love for things that are practical, love for organization, bringing order to chaos. That's Virgo's tagline. So in your own life, during the time Venus is in Virgo, which is through the end of August, you may think about how you can show your love or your support of someone in a different manner. Like Venus in Virgo's love language would be acts of service, not super touch and affection and all that stuff, but doing. Like, what have you done for me lately type energy. So maybe cook a nice meal for your loved one, or give them a massage, rub their feet or something like that. Even like just getting organized and taking care of business, especially if you have like a big family with a lot of people to manage. Like I have 3 kids, a cat, a dog, and a husband. So my house can be very chaotic sometimes. And my husband works a lot. So it's a lot of me, but the kids are going back to school soon. So I had this one day where I literally got all their stuff together. I got them registered. My little one's going into TK, so he had to have a medical exam, a dental exam. My oldest wants to play sports, so he needed a physical. I had to run him all around town, email this person and that person, make sure he got clearance. So it was a long day, you know, it was a lot of running around, a lot of errands. And then at the end of the day, I still went grocery shopping. But the point of the story was that my husband was like in awe that I got all this done and I made sure that everything was in order for our house and our family and all these things. And as a mom, I do this all the time. This is just routine to me. But he really acknowledged it and showed appreciation, and it really made me feel like so loved and valued. Venus topics. And that's really what Venus in Virgo is. It's showing appreciation for the mundane, everyday tasks. So think about how you can do that for someone, or even acknowledge what they do for you. And with that, I'm gonna pull a card. There's not any super major transits this week that I feel that you should be aware of. Next week is a completely different story. We'll get into it next week. But this week, I think that our work is to try and adjust to the 2 energy shifts that I just spoke to. Now, we're gonna be feeling throughout the month, actually. So throughout the month, feel free to come back and visit this video as a bit of a reminder as to what might be coming up for you. So I'm gonna be using the Modern Witch Tarot. It's a wonderful beginner-friendly deck. It's my favorite deck. And if you'd like to purchase one of your own, you can use the link in the description box. As always, I will be reading the card meaning from the Ultimate Guidebook. You can also find the link to purchase in the description down below. If you do plan on purchasing the deck or the guidebook, I kindly ask that you use my link so that I can get a couple of pennies from Amazon. What do we need to know this week for our highest good? Oh my gosh, I pulled the Sun card. What a perfect card. It's Leo season. Leo is ruled by the Sun. There's not anything extremely crazy going on this week. I think this can be great. Okay, let's see. I love this. All right. The Sun gives you strength and tells you that no matter where you go or what you do, your positive and radiant energy will follow you and bring you happiness and joy. Radiate who you are and what you stand for. Shine your love on those you care about. If you've been going through a difficult time, the Sun brings the message that things are soon to get better. Through the challenges along your past, you've discovered who you are and why you're here. You're brimming with confidence because you know that everything will work out. It always does. All right, the Sun is just a super positive card. I want you to remember that this is Leo season, and Leos are all about shining their light, finding ways to step out on their own stage and let their personalities shine. If you're dealing with something where there's some type of conflict and you're not sure which option to choose, you're not sure how to move forward, I want you to think about what it is that you want. Which decision, let's say you have a choice to make, which decision are you yourself going to benefit more from in the long haul? And it's Mercury retrograde right now, so you don't have to actually move forward. I think this is really a time for you to connect with yourself, find the confidence that you need, find the motivation that you need to be able to make the decision that's best for you, that ultimately you can shine your light bright. And whatever choice decision that you make, it's going to be okay. Everything always works itself out. Trust in yourself, trust in your judgment, trust your intuition, and stay confident in your ability to make the choice that's right for you. I think this also can be about Venus and Virgo. What can you do for someone else to show them that they're the center of your universe, that you show up for them, you shine bright for them, and you appreciate and you value and you love them? And I don't think it has to be this big old display of love. I think it needs to be heart-centered. Leo rules the heart. I think it needs to be just a genuine act of love, an act of service, Venus and Virgo. Well, I hope that was helpful and brought you some insight on what to expect for the week. Don't leave without hitting that subscribe button. You can hit it right now. I so appreciate it. Also, let me know how you're seeing the energy of the week show up for you. I love to see the astrology in action, and we'll read and respond to all comments. If you'd like to book a personal reading to dive into your specific story, you can do so at my website, mtysastrology.com. And while you're there, pick up a copy of my free ebook, Everyday Guide to Parenting Children by Their Moon Sign, because we know, as above, so below. We'll see you next time.